Hello, everybody. This is John Paval with the Access Arts Live weekly roundup of chamber music live stream action for the week of February 2nd to February 9th. I know I'm already a couple days late. We had some difficulties preventing us from getting this up and ready for you sooner, but it is up and ready for you now, and we have a great show to tell you about. We have got so much to talk about that I can't even tell you about everything. I'm going to have to farm out some things to other live streams I'll be doing during the week. We have chamber music, strictly speaking, chamber music from London, Madrid, New York City, Philadelphia, Ukraine, and more. We have early music. We have accordion music, playing classics, including some 17th century music, etc., etc. We have St. Mary's Perivale is live streaming. 92NY has 2 live streams this week, actually 3. One of them's already over. March Vivo has 4 live streams going. Before I go any further, let me remind you, do yourself a favor. If you like this kind of programming, and if you'd like to get live links to more than 1,000 live performances this year, follow or subscribe to Access Arts Live. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, X, TikTok, and LinkedIn. We're wherever you are. So let me move on to, let me remind you, if you had been following us already, then you would have known about Milda Daunoraite's lovely recital for St. Mary's Perivale yesterday, Tuesday in the afternoon, playing Beethoven, Chopin, Schubert. Some of the people that watched were putting up reactions like flames. So they really liked it. And you would have known about 92NY bringing in Grammy Award-winning tenor Freddie Ballentine and top accompanist Kunal Lahiry on the piano to do a concert exploring the issues related to the Black and LGBTQ communities. That was also yesterday. But let me start filling you in now on what's going on starting today, starting with March Vivo, which has a lineup of 4 separate live streams this week. There you have all 4 of them on screen. No, you don't have that on screen on TikTok, but I'll put up the recording of the way this video looks on all of our other platforms for you when I'm done. That's Segovian guitar music. It's traditional African inspired music in Portugal and Spain. It's a continuing series about the music of Versailles and Dresden in the, I think, 1700s. I'll be more precise about that. And then their continuing Sunday Young Performers series. So let me get to telling you about each of these more specifically. There are 4 of them to tell you about, and the first of them, I believe, is just later today. Wednesday, February 4th, March Vivo closes its series on the legacy of Andrés Segovia by live streaming guitarist Ricardo Gallén. He's playing a sound map of Spanish works from regions across Spain, from Andalucía, that's a piece by Joaquín Turina, from Castilla, Federico Moreno Toroba, from Levante, Vicente Asensio, and from Galicia, Frederic Montpou. Gallén, whose picture you see there, he's a professor in Weimar at the Franz Liszt University, and also up in Norden at the Oslo Academy of Music. And one of his claims to fame is that he has recorded the complete lute works of Johann Sebastian Bach. So how about that? And that's first up this week. That's today. But I want to tell you about the other live streams they're doing all week long, rather than coming back to them again and again and again during the week. And the next live stream that they'll be doing then will be on Friday. Friday, February 6th, March Vivo continues its Black music series, live streaming the Bando de Cirunio, a vocal ensemble, singing Baroque Black villancicos, Black Christmas carols from Portugal and Spain and the colonial churches, marking the African impact on Iberian culture in the 17th and 18th centuries. Wow, that was a mouthful of a description to give you all at once. Anyway, o bando de Cirunio means a flock of starlings. That's where they got their name from. And they work together with the Center for Classical Studies and Humanistic Programs at the University of Coimbra. And the conductor, who also plays the lute and Baroque guitar, is Hugo Sanchez, and there will be a presenter presenting the different pieces in Spanish. So you want to brush up on your Spanish for this. That's on Friday at February 6th at 6 in the evening European time, noon on the East Coast, 9 in the morning on the West Coast. Then March Vivo is back on Saturday and on Sunday. Both of those will be at noon European time. So it's not the most viewable hours for those of you who are in the United States. Saturday, February 7th, March Vivo continues its Versailles versus Dresden series with top early music specialists in the viola da gamba, guitar, and harpsichord, playing the works of Marine Marais, Antoine Forgeray, and others from the courts of Louis XIV and XV in France, highlighting the expressiveness of the voice, in particular of the viola da gamba. That's at noon on Saturday, European time, 6 in the morning on the East Coast. Stay up late Friday night, 3 o'clock on the West Coast, 10 o'clock in the evening down under in Australia. For some reason, the viola da gamba flourished in the French courts of Louis XIV and XV, which was also when the French monarchy was flourishing. Maybe that had something to do with it. So they'll be playing music by Jean-Henri d'Angoulbert, by Marin Marais, by Antoine Forgeray, and by Robert de Vizet. How do you like that? And it's Paolo Pandolfo on the viola da gamba, Amélie Chemin on the bass viola da gamba. Pandolfo has been teaching viola da gamba at the Schola Cantorum Basiliensis since 1989. Amélie Chemin was a student of his there, but she's all grown up now and is a co-founder of various ensembles and has an active performing career. It's Maria Ferre on the theorbo and Baroque guitar. If you know about early music, the theorbo was a stringed instrument. But I don't have time to show you pictures of it because we're too loaded with things to tell you about. She studied at the Barcelona Conservatory, but she also ended up at the Schola Cantorum in Basel. There's a lot of connections with Basel here in this group. And then on the harpsichord is Joan Boronat-Sans, who trained at the Catalonia College of Music, but also at the Schola Cantorum Basel. So there's a lot of connections with the Schola Cantorum Basel in this concert on Saturday. Enjoy. It's free of charge. And then finally on Sunday, there's one more March Vivo live stream this week. It's just almost every day of the week. And besides that, we have all sorts of other live streams to tell you about. So I am trying to get through this I can't belabor any of these concerts for too long. Sunday, February 8th, March Vivo live streams young performers tenor Lawrence Kilsby and pianist Ella O'Neill, evoking Hemingway's Paris of the 1920s with songs by composers and poets from that era. That's at noon on Sunday, European time, 6 o'clock on the East Coast, 3 in the morning on the West Coast, late Saturday night, and 10 o'clock in the evening down under in Australia. These are poems by Noel Coward, Guillaume Apollinaire, composers like Poulenc, Honegger, but also Aaron Copland, Ned Rorem, including the song Early in the Morning, which I used to sing in recital. Early in the morning of a lovely sun, etc. I'm not going to sing that any further. I'm not in recital now. Nadia Boulanger, Fauré, Rinaldo Hahn. It's an atmospheric concert. So, chapeau to March Vivo for all this great programming this week, all of it free of charge. Why would you not tune in? And next up is also today. March Vivo is on at 6 o'clock in the evening, European time today. And this will be much later in the day, in the evening in Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Chamber Music Society live streams top operatic mezzo Jennifer Johnson Cano with her husband, top accompanist Christopher Cano, and St. Louis Symphony's principal violist Beth Guter is singing Brahms in a program of solos, duos, and trios. That'll be singing Brahms, Schumann, Grieg, Frank Bridge, Vaughan Williams, and Jonathan Dove. And it's Beth Guterman, to be precise. My notes got all smashed together. There, I fixed it, but you can't see it. Anyway, okay, what will they be doing? Beth Guterman, Jennifer Johnson Caro is what Opera News calls a naturalist interpreter of contemporary opera. She's done more than 100 performances at the New York Met since her debut there about 15 years ago. So, and she's done she's done contemporary pieces in concert with the Boston Lyric Opera, with the Cleveland Orchestra, with the San Francisco Symphony. If she continues on this, she attains legendary status. So this is a top operatic mezzo, and the whole point of this concert is to show the values and the expressiveness of that middle range. Philadelphia Chamber Music Society, once again, a high quality live stream. Although I did hack up all the descriptions of that one. We move on to Thursday's live streaming now. Which brings us early music. Early music ensemble of Brooklyn Baroque's harpsichordist Rebecca Pichevsky, cellist David Bakamjian, and flautist Melanie Williams are joined by violoncellist Serafim Smigelski in Midtown Concerts Thursday, February 5th live stream of La Dedicatrice, music written for women. That will be at 1:15 in the afternoon in New York City, 10:15 in the morning on the West Coast, and 7:15 in the evening here in Europe. These are 18th century compositions which were inspired by and written for women. So they'll play Johann Christian Bach's Sonata in D major for harpsichord and flute, dedicated to Emma Jane Greenland, who was an accomplished painter, writer, and musician of the time. They'll do Jean-Marie Leclerc's Sonata in G major for flute and continuo. That was dedicated to Anne, who was the Princess of Orange, which is in the Netherlands, and regent of the Netherlands. Leclerc worked for her for about 5 years' time. But she was also an excellent musician, and she had studied harpsichord and composition in Handel. Then they'll do Scarlatti's Sonata in C minor, Kerschel number 11, and his Sonata in F minor, Kerschel number 184. These were written for the Princess Maria Barbara of Portugal, who later became Queen of Spain. And Scarlatti also taught her how to play the harpsichord. And then we'll finish up with Christoph Schafra's Trio in D major for flute, cello, and continuo, which was probably written for the sister of Frederick the Great, Anna Amalia of Prussia, who was herself a composer. studied with one of Bach's own students. So Brooklyn Baroque has been around for about 2.5 decades. They've had some reorganization, and happily they have been recently added the flautist Melanie Williams to their ranks. You see her there with that brilliant smile. So it looks like she's very happy to be there. And this is a very well-experienced. Melanie Williams went to Oberlin and then got her doctorate at Juilliard and is teaching at the pre-college and extension division of Juilliard. Rebecca Pachevsky, the harpsichordist, has played at places like Carnegie Hall's Wild Recital Hall, the Morris Jumel Mansion. She's done a lot of European engagements with the Brooklyn Baroque, and Smigelski was with the Tesla Quartet for 6 or 7 years, and they played all over Europe at top locations. So they perform now at the Old Stone House in Brooklyn. Enjoy. Then we move on to Friday's offering. So there's only one really on Thursday this week. And Friday, there is a lot going on again. Starting out with this lovely young pair of musicians. Friday, February 6th, the Vere Music Hub, a live stream center for up-and-coming Ukrainian classical musicians, features pianist Eva Eroshenko and clarinetist Vasyl Pimenov, playing a very French program, Saint-Saëns Sonata and a Debussy Rhapsody, both for clarinet and piano, of course. That's at 6 o'clock, Friday evening in Europe, noon on the East Coast, 9 in the morning on the West Coast, free of charge on their YouTube channel. It's Saint-Saëns Sonata for clarinet and piano in E-flat major, Opus 167. That was composed in 1921 and dedicated to Auguste Perrier, which makes one think of Perrier water. And then Claude Debussy's Rhapsody for clarinet and piano, CD 124, composed in 1910, which was dedicated to Prosper Mérimée. So this is a concert of early 20th century musical pieces by French composers dedicated to French people. And there you have it. I could not find more biographical information on the two instrumentalists, but I will, if there's room, we'll give you the link to the Vera Fund page where they list all the musicians who are involved in this worthy enterprise. Check it out. Okay, then starting after that, there are 2 more live streams coming up on Friday from a content creator that I usually do not end up talking about. It's the Peabody Institute, and we do not do school concerts because there are too many of them, and I don't have time, and I'm exhausted just from what I already do cover. So, but if anybody wanted to join Access Arts Live and especially do a live stream once a week on live streaming going on in academic institutions. They're going on all over the place, loads of stuff, and I think some people would love to know about them. I just cannot handle the traffic. So Peabody Institute, though, has 2 live streams today, which are not student live streams, they're expert live streams. I'm going to tell you about them. Here's the first one. Friday, February 6th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Peabody Institute live streams Peabody faculty member and Baltimore Symphony Orchestra bassist Nina De Cesare, performing all 6 of the cello suites of Johann Sebastian Bach, kicking off a national tour with this program. Well, that's at 7:30 in the evening in Baltimore on the East Coast. 4:30 in the afternoon on the West Coast, 1:30 in the morning here in Europe, and 11:30 Saturday morning down under in Australia. She's a double bass player and, a top talent playing with the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra. And how often do you get a chance to hear all of Bach's cello suites, all wrapped up in one package, played on the bass, I'm assuming, rather than on the cello? although I cannot verify this, you'll need to check it out for yourself. But in either event, if you love those cello suites, this is not something you would necessarily want to miss. And it's free of charge on their own website. We'll give you the link. Have a good tour, Nina. All the best. Okay. And then contemporaneously, though, now they're really giving you hard choices. I got to say, at exactly the same time, Peabody is live streaming another concert. The hits just keep on coming this week. This one I might reasonably have saved for I'm going to do a separate live stream on contemporary or now music this week because there isn't room to fit it all into the chamber music. And this is very now music, but it's more like contemporary than like composed now, which some other live streamers do. Friday, February 6th, the Peabody Institute live streams guest artist, the Noise Quartet, a saxophone quartet, which has become, quote, one of the major groups at the forefront of new music in America, unquote, according to the Chicago Classical Review, playing contemporary works by Augusta Reed Thomas, Jesse Montgomery, Bobby G., Shelley Washington, Elijah Daniel Smith, and Travis LaPlante. That's at 7:30 in the evening, Eastern Standard Time, 4:30 in the afternoon on the West Coast, 1:30 in the morning in Europe, and 11:30 Saturday morning down under in Australia. That's a soprano, alto, tenor, and baritone saxophones, played by Julian Velasco, Natalia Warthen, Jordan Luloff, and Janos Kasantos. That is the quartet. They've been around for about a decade. They've done over 200 concerts. They have played for 20,000 audience members and 1 million plus digital listeners worldwide. Pieces are doing Augusta Reed Thomas's Shakespeare's Gestures, Jesse Montgomery's Breakaway, Bobby G's To Speak as One, Shelley Washington's Eternal Present, Elijah Daniel Smith, Perihelion, and Travis LaPlante's Running in a Field of Flowers. Enjoy. But that's not all there is on Friday. There's yet another concert on Friday coming from 92NY, and they also have a third concert this week, which will be on Sunday. So let me tell you about these two 92NY concerts. First of them on Friday. Friday, February 6th, 92NY is hosting pianist Pedja Muzilievich, rendering homage to the era of the 1970s when we had cassette players for the first time and you could record your own mixtapes. And that's become a thing now among classicists. So he'll be playing his own classical mixtapes with music from Franz Haydn to Philip Glass and beyond. That's at 7:30 p.m. Also Eastern Standard Time, 4:30 on the West Coast, 1:30 in the morning in Europe, and 11:30 Saturday morning down under in Australia. It will cost $25 because they don't give it away at 92NY. He's playing 3 sets. So the first set is anchored by the music of C.P.E. Bach, and but he'll also play some Ligeti and some Valentin Silvestrov in that set. The second set is about American voices regarding devotion and ritual. And that starts with a ballade by Amy Beach, then some Morton Feldman, Gregory Spears, and it finishes with a piece by Philip Glass. And then he'll do a final piece, which is organized around Haydn, starts with a Haydn sonata, ends with a Haydn sonata, and in between plays some George Crumb and Henry Cowell. That's his mixtape. Then on Sunday, there's one more 92 New York live stream. We're going to come right up to my 30-minute limit this week, I can tell you that. And that's not even covering everything. There's so much going on, folks. I should be happy, but I'm overwhelmed because I have to process all this stuff. The work it takes to get this to you, let me tell you. Grammy Award-winning violist Richard O'Neill of the Takacs Quartet and master pianist Garrison Olson grace the 92NY stage and live stream Sunday, February 8th, with a program of music by Schubert and Rachmaninoff. That'll be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday, New York City time, 11 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast, 8 in the evening here in Europe, and 6 a.m. Monday morning down under in Australia. O'Neill is a Grammy Award winner, and the Cox Quartet, they were all over the place last summer playing at chamber music festivals. I remember their name kept coming up. As for Garrick Olson, he's like, they still talk at N92NY about a Chopin recital he did in 2023, which was magnificent. But he was the chairman of the jury for the Chopin International Piano Competition this past September. And if you followed that, you learned a lot about Garrick Olson because he was around talking and giving speeches at times, and he's just, well, he's the top of the mountain when it comes to that. So they'll do. Olson will play Schubert's solo piece Impromptu in C minor, Opus 90, number 1. Then they'll do Schubert's couple of songs, Du bist die Ruhe and Nacht und Träume by Schubert. I've sung both of those in recital. That's Nacht und Träume. And then they'll do a Schubert sonata in A minor, the Arpeggione. And then Rachmaninoff's Etude Tableau, Opus 39, number 5, for solo piano. And then they'll do the sonata in G minor for cello and piano by Rachmaninoff, Opus 19, transcribed for viola. That'll be a top-level concert, $25. Okay, then we have 2 more live streams to tell you about this week. And I'm struggling to come in under my 30-minute time limit. I think I'll just barely make it because I think the next one is I can just dispatch with very briefly. It's from the Kennedy Center. Yes, Saturday, February 7th, the Kennedy Center Millennium Stage welcomes the Lunar New Year, which is the year of the horse this year, with a musical performance featuring the Mongolians Dance Group. That's at 6 in the evening in Washington, D.C., 3 o'clock in Los Angeles, midnight here in Europe, and 10 o'clock in the morning, Sunday morning. And finally, one last live stream to tell you about this week. It's an accordionist and friends at St. Mary's Perivale, our good friends there in Hugh Mather, who has done, if you're interested in more about St. Mary's Perivale, I have a live stream interview I did with the guy who runs St. Mary's Perivale, Hugh Mather. You can find it on our YouTube channel under the interviews section. Anyway, here's this accordionist. Sunday, February 8th, award-winning Serbian accordionist Milos Milivojevic leads a merry band of violin, viola, and piano players to play works by Fauré, Bach, Franck, Saint-Saëns, and more. That'll be at their usual weekly time for St. Mary's Perivale, 4 o'clock in the afternoon in Europe, 10 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast, 7 in the morning on the West Coast, and 2 o'clock in the morning down under in Australia. It's Anna Milivojevic on the violin, Virginie Giffray on the viola, and David Gordon on the piano. They're also playing, among other things, a piece by Antoine Forqueray, who's featured in one of the March Vivo live streams this week. I think it is. My memory is escaping me, but one of the other live streams this week had it. But that's like 17th century French court of Louis XIV or 15. Louis XIV, it was 17th century. And a piece by Jacob de Bandolim. So it's a very varied concert with ingenious selections being played by with an accordion lead and a piano, viola, and violin. I'm sure, at the end of these things, I always say, I hope that one, some, more, or any of these live streams uplifts you, inspires you, or it just shows you a good time. This is one of the good time ones, okay? So anyway, that's St. Mary's Perivale. Virginie Guiffray is co-founder of the Galeazzi Ensemble, works with period instruments, and David Gordon is a jazz pianist, but also a harpsichordist. This is an interesting group. Folks, that's what we have for you this week in terms of live streams of chamber music. I will have more for you later today with the roundup for this week's big stage productions. The Vienna State Opera is going to be active this week, and several of our favorite symphonies are going to be active this week. So it looks like it's going to be a great week for the performing arts. Ciao for now. I should be back, I think, at 6 o'clock this evening to do that orchestral roundup if you want to hear even more of me today. Bye. Thanks for tuning in.